This video, we're going to be talking about defining your values. This video is going to be broken down into 3 parts. So part 1 is focusing on your life now. But this is where we're going to be looking at what your life currently looks like in terms of the things you do, how you're engaging, and what your life feels like currently. So there's one exercise that I'm going to share with you that's going to help you to answer both of those questions. Then we're going to move into the second part of the video, which is what you want your life to look like. And there's several questions that you need to look at and address before we can really flesh out what it is you want your life to look like, including what values you want to follow. Third part of this video is going to be to make it happen, to build an action plan. So let's jump right into part number 1, which is what your life looks like now. You make 2 columns. The first column is the things that you do that give you energy. So things that you do in your life that energize you, that give you, it could be that make you happy, it gives you motivation, it makes you want to work harder. It could be anything that really gives you a lot of energy, especially things that you enjoy and want to do more of. Perhaps over the course of a week, write down a list of things that you do that give you energy and that make you feel good. On the other column, write down the things that drain you. So make you feel perhaps tired or exhausted, leaving you little energy to do anything else. It could be things that make you feel anxious or depressed, fearful, shameful. Anything that you do in your life that brings up these things. And it's not just things you do, for example, work or a sport or hobbies. It could be your relationships too. Well, in the morning I'll go to work. What does that involve? That involves me getting on a train or a bus or commuting or driving to work. Okay, so let me focus on that. Is that energizing or draining? Do I enjoy that or do I not? Then you get to work. Generally, how do you feel? And a good way to answer that question is think about how you feel once you've finished work. Do you tend to feel drained, like you have energy for nothing else? Or do you tend to feel that you were quite productive, you feel good about yourself? Because that could mean then that it's an energizing activity. Then you come home from work, you've got to cook, or it might be that you're living with family or you have a partner, you're speaking with them. How is that interaction? Is it mainly draining or energizing? So you really break down a typical day or a typical week, thinking about the things you do and what it feels like. And in terms of energy, does it charge your battery or does it drain your battery? What you've just done is you've mapped out your life in a clear diagram and categorized it by what gives you energy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel motivated, and the things you do that drain you, perhaps make you feel anxious or contribute to any depression you may be experiencing. Step 2 is the life you want. What do you want your life to look like? And what do you want to feel like? It may be that currently you look at the diagram that you just done, the battery test, and you be like, actually, you know what? 40% of my time that I spend in a typical week is based on doing things that make me feel absolutely exhausted, lacking motivation, perhaps even miserable. Well, I want to reduce that figure from 40% to 20% or 10%. I want to do less of the things that make me feel drained, and I want to replace it with more of the things that make me feel energized. Maybe there are things that drain you that you can't necessarily stop from doing, or you can't necessarily give up at this time. Going grocery shopping, for example, a lot of people might find that absolutely mundane, but it's something you have to do. And a good solution to that is think, well, what are the different ways I can do that? I can order my food online. I can have it delivered to me, so I don't have to worry about going to the shops and going through that. So that's just a very simple example about looking at the things that are draining you and how they can be changed. So this is part of constructing the life you want. A key part of this is finding the values that you want to follow. Write a list of the things that you value. And so for some of you, career is going to be something that you truly value. For others, career is something that's actually quite draining and you want to move away from that into family, connection. For some of you, you might want all of those things, in which case it's about finding a balance. Ask yourself, how will this value make me feel? Then you go into the goal setting stage, breaking that value down into steps that you can do on a daily basis that's going to help you to meet that value or incorporate that value in your life. And that's part 3 of the video. For example, let's say you value connection. Okay, Another value might be family, love, and all of these things are connected. If you can better connect with people, that's going to translate in your relationships with your family, your friends, and you may feel love emerge from that as a result. Writing down the list of values you have, next to each value, how will it make me feel? And does it have a place in my life currently? And that's a really important question, because it might be that you value something quite dearly, but there is no space in your life at the moment for you to implement that value. And it's about being honest with yourself and saying, okay, what do I need to change, or what do I need to adjust in my life in order for me to reach that value? So far, you have the activities that you do on a typical week, let's say, that either drain you or energize you. So you know what you're doing and how it makes you feel. Now you've thought about what life you want to experience and what feeling you want to experience. Now we move into part 3, which is making it happen. You can create yourself an action plan that will help you to meet the values that you want to implement in your life. So for example, the ability to connect with others. You don't just wake up and say, well, today I'm going to connect with others. It helps to have steps that you can follow to help you achieve that wider goal and achieve that value. The value I have is to connect. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to ask the barista how their day is going. And it could be something as straightforward as that you are able to speak with someone that you wouldn't ordinarily speak to in that regard, and just ask them how their day is going. You are connecting with them on a human level, and just see how that goes. You can set yourself an action plan that works for you. And by doing that consistent enough basis, you are giving yourself the opportunity to meet that value, to address those goals, and see how you feel as a result. Because in step 2 of the video, where we thought about what life we want and what we want to feel like, now we're putting it into action. By doing it and making it happen, you will know what steps you need to take to meet the value that you want to implement in your life. If you take action, in the longer run, you will get the goal and you will get the result. It may feel tedious. It may not feel good while you're doing it, because you've broken down a big goal that you want to achieve, or the value that you want in your life. You've broken it down to a very small part where you're not going to get that same level of benefit or the same positive feeling. But those moments over time will compound into the goal that you want to reach. Doing it every day, making it consistent, and enjoying it. And part of making it enjoyable is to have self-compassion. Ask yourself, okay, I've got an action plan for today. I'm going to ask the barista how their day is going. I'm going to go into work and try not to allow my negative mindset to overrule me. I'm instead going to ask my boss, how are you? How are you doing today? Do you need any help with anything? You're coming across with a different mindset. You're coming home. You're going to make yourself a cooked meal. You're going to go to the gym. You're making effort at every point in the day to adjust your routine to make yourself feel good in the long run. But that process in itself is exhausting. So therefore, make sure that you are building in things that help you just to relax. And this is where the balance comes in. Balance is key to making this sustainable. And the longer you do it, the more results you'll see in the longer run. Click on the link in the description. You will see a list of values that I found online, and you can research this yourself if you want. Just to give you an example of what values there are out there. You can pick out the ones that stand out to you the most. Then you can look at, what do I need to do in order to achieve this value in the long run? So what you're doing is you're starting with your value set, but you are backwards engineering it. So what life do I want, and what do I want to feel like? And what does that look like in very practical terms, step by step? And then it's making it happen, putting it into an action plan and making it happen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was my video on how to define your values. If you found this useful, please give it a like and subscribe. There'll be more content coming in the future around how you can be the best version of yourself. See you soon.